The Sports Time Podcast.
All right. I'm pleased to be joined by a recurring guest, co-host of the Pickle Podcast, local comedian, and an avid Milwaukee Bucks fan, Andrew Jones. How's it going?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm definitely excited to talk about the NBA. How excited for the postseason are you this year?
Dude, this is the best postseason ever. The play-in tournament, we've already had, a few of those settled. I'm so pumped, man. It makes it so exciting. So exciting, and anything can happen this year. And I love it. Love it.
Were you shocked by how bad the Wizards blew out the Pacers on Thursday night?
Man, I'm just glad I didn't bet any money. I was expecting Pacers to just whoop them, but Russell Westbrook chooses when he wants to be the man. And tonight apparently was that night. So
to be honest with you, I picked the Pacers to win. I put some little money. I put like $10 on, but I was a little surprised because with how good the Pacers looked against the Hornets on Tuesday night, I thought, oh, this is definitely going to be the Pacers, and the Wizards looked terrible against the Celtics, but it was the complete opposite. So,
oh yeah, no man, I'm with you. I almost put some. I would have put like $25 down. I was for sure was a for sure thing. So no, but it's whatever. I don't see Washington going much farther, but I mean, at least they got there.
So their next opponent, the Brooklyn Nets, they look pretty dominant. Do you think there's anybody? I don't think there's even anybody in the West that can probably beat them right now. But do you think there's any chance that they don't make it to the NBA Finals?
The Nets, no. I mean, and I think actually, no, I think it is. I think they play. I think Washington now plays Philly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Brooklyn's the 2 seed. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, which is shocking, honestly. But I mean, none of them have played together yet. So yeah, Brooklyn plays Boston first. So that should be. I mean, if no Jaylen Brown, that's either 4 or 5 games. That's over. That's done with. Especially if Harden and Kyrie are playing, that's over. And then next they would play. They have to go through Milwaukee or Miami. So I'm gonna say they get knocked out right then and there. Nets are done. It's over. 4 games sweep, 80-point victories, all 4 games. I don't know, man. I mean, if they get past the Bucks, it's over. Honestly, if they get it's over, and I think they got it all the way. They got it all the way to the championship.
I'm like you said, you just mentioned the Sixers are the number 1 seed. I always forget to realize that because it seemed like Brooklyn was not trying and they were still could have had the number 1 seed. But
Yep.
I'm a little weary. I guess I'm not. I guess I'm a little worried about them only playing 7 games together. But at the end of the day, when James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving lock it in, it's almost impossible to stop them. And I feel like Brooklyn probably is going to take home the championship because the Clippers don't seem to be the same team. The Lakers don't be the same team. I think the Jazz and Suns are still a year or 2 away. But it's definitely going to be very entertaining to see where Brooklyn goes and how far they reach this year. Because if they don't make it even to the NBA Finals, I mean, Steve Nash, does he lose his job maybe if they don't even make it to the NBA Finals?
No, man, that's like a Steve Kerr. I mean, Steve Nash is one of the greatest point guards ever in history. One of my favorites for sure. But no, I don't think they. I think they blame it on the injuries and the time off and Ramadan or whatever. I can't remember what Kyrie's doing, but yeah, I don't see it. I'm you take the Nets and you say they haven't played together, but then you add a former MVP, a guy who's been in the MVP conversation. That's the guy you're missing. Like on a bad day, that dude is way better than any bench player that anybody else is missing. So no, I see them taking it because if Kyrie has an off night, you got Harden. If Harden has an off night, you got Durant. If Durant has an off night, they got that Mike James new point guard guy that's insane. They have Blake Griffin. They're terrifying. They're honestly terrifying. So
The one guy I feel really bad for was LaMarcus Aldridge, though. He had a chance to be with the Nets, win a championship, and then everything goes complete terrible for him. So I'm a little disappointed for LaMarcus Aldridge. I think though, if Brooklyn wins, I would assume they would give him a ring just because he was there for a little bit. But
sure.
Do you think LaMarcus Aldridge is a Hall of Famer?
I know it's your boy, so I don't really want to talk bad. He's from the Spurs. That's your team. Um, By the way, sorry about the loss the other night. That was a close game. I mean, but yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I've never been. He's never been anybody that I'm like, wow, like he's like good, but he's never been anybody I'd be like, that guy changes a team. So I mean, I don't think so. Sorry to say, but I don't think so. Even on the Spurs, he was okay.
I think LaMarcus Aldridge kind of plays similar to Tim Duncan, but he never quite had that moment. And I think, I mean,
Or the 5 championships.
yeah, I mean, that's another good point as well. But I feel like when LaMarcus Aldridge went to the Spurs back in 2015, that was the one time I think they were good. Or they had, 2 years or 2 or 3 years where they were really good. And after that, they were kind of just mediocre, average after Kawhi left. And I felt like LaMarcus Aldridge, for the first time in his career, he had a chance to win a championship where he was with a legitimate team. But I guess we'll see what happens there.
Oh, yeah, dude. When as soon as they announced like Aldridge gets released and goes to Nets, I was like, well, it's over. I don't even know why we're having a playoff. It's over. Like, no, dude. That's it's really unfortunate. I mean, if I was him, I would have, I guess, I mean, you're kind of screwing your team over, but I would have been like, no, I just need to sit out for a little bit. Like, just sit on the bench, just be like, no, there's something going on. I don't know. We'll figure it out, just to make sure that you got to watch it and be a part of it. But no, he'll for sure get a ring. I think he only played like 7 games for him, but yeah, he'll get a ring for sure.
I mean, he's probably a Hall of Fame he's probably a Hall of Famer for the Portland Trailblazers and maybe for the Spurs, but I think at the end of the day, he's probably not going to get into the Hall. Let's start off again. Let's go back to the playoff preview. We kind of already touched up on Philly and Washington and Brooklyn and I'm trying to remember now Boston, right? And then the next series would be Milwaukee and Miami, a rematch from last year's conference semifinals. Yep. So who do you have in that matchup and how long does it last?
Man, I gotta go Milwaukee. I have to. But worst team to play. Worst team that we face off. I mean, they're not anywhere near where they were last year, but God, they're so scary. No, they're terrible. Like when it was flip flopping up until the last day of the playoff picture, and then that's where we landed, I was not happy. So nervous about Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, nervous about Dragic is healthy. I don't even know if Oladipo is playing. If Oladipo was playing, that'd be terrifying. I don't think he's playing though. Man, I hope we get out in 6. I would say maybe 5, but 5 or 6. I hope it goes fast. I hope that Drew Holiday plays like we paid him to during the playoffs. So yeah, hopefully Milwaukee in 4 or 5, and then if that happens, Milwaukee and Brooklyn, 6 or 7 games. But I think it's going to be a fight.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely going to be one of the most fun series is Milwaukee and Miami. Of course, last year it was the Eastern Conference semifinals, and I think the Bucks definitely want revenge. And I think Miami's not the same team they were last year, but you definitely don't want to get Jimmy Butler riled up, because if he gets that, it's almost impossible to stop the guy. Similar to when Kobe would get riled up. So anyways, but I think at the same time, I think Giannis he's pissed off of always getting beat in the playoffs. He wants to finally get there. I think he wants that championship ring, because if he doesn't, people will continue to doubt Giannis. Oh, he can't make it. He's got to join a big team. And I don't think he wants to. He doesn't want to go to like a big market team just to win a ring. So I think it's going to be fun. And I got Milwaukee in 6 games in that series as well.
Nice. Yes. So, and then lately, at least Giannis, when I've watched him play, he has this I'll take over, I'll score 40 or 50, and he just has this boom, and sometimes it doesn't work. But the biggest thing is going to happen, and I know this is going to be a problem, is over the years they've been able to build a wall for Giannis and stop him, and he can't pass. Now he's got people to pass to. They're not great because it's Pat Connaughton and stuff, but now we got Brian Forbes from the Spurs, and he's really, really good. But the problem's going to be is if it needs to be a shot at the end of the game, Giannis is going to want to take it, but Middleton should be taking it. And that's why we've lost so many games, is because Giannis will doink up a shot from the free throw line when Middleton would have, just backed up, spun, and just swished a shot. Him or Holiday. So if Giannis can be the man for 47 minutes and then in 30 seconds and give that dude his time for, 24 seconds at the end of the game, that'll be the difference. But we'll see if it happens.
It seems like Chris Middleton is always kind of that forgotten guy, and he's so good at the mid range. And like, I think if they focus more on Chris Middleton and gave him the ball more, besides just Giannis getting the ball every time, I feel like the Bucks again would have won more games. And I just feel like, again, Chris Middleton is just a kind of a forgotten guy, but when he is on, like, he's one of the best mid range shooters in the league, which is really hard to do. But I definitely think that's great advice. I think Chris Middleton, I think he's one of the top. Well, he's probably, I don't know if he's top 5, but he's somewhere in the top 7, top 8 range. But I definitely think that's a good point about Middleton. All right, so let's go to the next round. Not a whole lot to talk about. New York and Atlanta. I'm still stunned. New York is the 4 seed.
Yeah.
Julius Randle, what a season. Tom Thibodeau definitely deserves to be somewhere in the Coach of the Year discussion.
Yep.
Who do you got coming out of that series?
I definitely think New York. I mean, Atlanta's too young, and like it's all based on shooting. They've got nothing else. So I mean, I think Julius Randle blows up. I think Rose was good. I think Nick's got it.
Well, on the other side of Atlanta, I mean, this has been kind of a weird season. They didn't start very good at all, and of course, it's not really hard to get the 5th seed in the East. But
Right.
they fired their coach Lloyd Pierce, and their assistant was it? I can't remember now who their assistant. He was at Indiana before, wasn't he? The Hawks assistant. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
It will come up to me eventually. Oh, Nate McMillan. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting how the Hawks kind of came out of nowhere, and it's been a huge, just a huge way they've came. Like Trae Young has been excellent, and I feel like the supporting cast isn't the best, but I still think the Hawks I don't think they can get past the Knicks, but I do think they have a bright future, and it's interesting how they came a long way from the start of the season. All right, at the end of the day, who you got? You got the Nets, Bucks, Sixers. Who do you like the most and why? You got to pick one.
Well, I mean, if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with America's team. You know what I'm saying? the Bucks, baby. We're going all the way this year. All the way. Top. Giannis MVP. It's over.
It'd be really crazy to see the Bucks win. I feel like more free agents would be attracted to go to Milwaukee, even though that's not exactly a free agent destination, but especially with how good Giannis has been, and Giannis would solidify himself probably as a top 3 and maybe sometime in the near future as one of the best players in the league. So that would be definitely great for the city of Milwaukee and, of course, the team, the Bucks. All right, so now let's flip to the West. Let's start with the play-in game. Grizzlies, Warriors. Of course, I think by the time this recording comes out, the game is already going to be scheduled. But right now, who do you like in that matchup, Grizzlies or Warriors?
Well, first off, I don't want my background to distract everybody, so I'm going to just put some like art or something like that on the background. There we go. That's good. Okay, cool. All right. Don't want to be too distracting. So I'm going to say the Warriors beat the Grizzlies, even though the Grizzlies are playing super good right now. I think the Warriors are going to take it.
And do you like the Warriors upsetting the Jazz, or do you like the Jazz just rolling the Warriors just like normally how the 1 seed does?
No, I'm saying if it goes Golden State, Utah, I think Golden State takes the series.
Wow. So you got an upset, maybe the 3rd time ever in NBA history that a number 8 seed beat a number 1 seed. You have to go way back to 2011 when Memphis upset San Antonio. And then, of course, the Warriors back in 2007 upset the Mavericks. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, man. I think if anybody could do it, man, Steph Curry and the crew. I mean, they can, and they've been there. Well, not all of them, but most of them have been there enough times where they know what to do.
It would definitely be up, and I think a lot of people might end up changing their MVP vote from Jokic maybe or Joel Embiid back to Steph Curry. So, I mean, even Kenny Smith said right now the best player in the league is Curry, which I don't think I agree with, but it's still interesting how that works. So, let's go to the next matchup here. Let's see here. It starts, I think, Phoenix and LA. Who do you like in that matchup?
I definitely like the Suns more. I would love for the Suns to beat them. Can they? I don't know, man. The The Suns look pretty. The Suns are. I didn't realize how good the Suns were doing. Just because I was just watching basketball, I wasn't like paying really attention to the standings or anything, and then all of a sudden I saw Phoenix had the shot to be the number one team in the league, and I'm blown away. It's Chris Paul. I mean, he's the man, and they talked about him being MVP. He doesn't have the numbers for it, but that dude is probably the most valuable player to have on your team, just smart wise. But him in the playoff versus LeBron and AD and half that crew. Unfortunately, I think Lakers are going to take it. I hope they don't. I want Suns to go. Chris Paul being in the finals would be super dope, but I think Lakers got it.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, the Lakers are somehow going to make it to the conference finals at least, just because it's the Lakers, it's LeBron. They look terrible against the Warriors, and they still managed to beat them by 3 points. So it's going to be fun to watch. I probably have the Warriors, or not the Warriors. I also probably have the Lakers knocking past the Suns. Again, it's just going to be so hard for the Lakers to get beat. And I feel like they're destined to make the conference finals, at least now that now it looks like they're fully healthy. So did you have anything more to add to that?
I honestly think whoever wins that series goes to the finals. Whoever wins Suns, Lakers, I think goes to the finals.
Yeah, and as much as I don't want to see the Lakers in, it's going to be hard for them. And I think the NBA really wants right now either the Lakers and Nets or like the Warriors. Well, the Warriors aren't going all the way, but I think right now the NBA really wants the Warriors and Nets. That would give them great ratings.
Oh yeah,
and it would make the play-in game look even better. Which I think at one time it was like, why the Lakers in the play-in game? They have a chance to lose. So Adam Silver would be one happy commissioner after that. So.
I like that. Warriors. Okay, so I guess I take that back. If Warriors get in the playoffs, they have a shot. They have a shot of going all the way too. I don't count them out at all. They can somehow pull together. They've done it before.
They got to get Steph Curry help though, because I don't think he can score 50 points every night. It's kind of my concern for the Warriors.
Wiggins is looking good though. Like really, really good. Yeah, Wiggins is looking good. Draymond, just stop getting all these technicals and all these little fouls and making LeBron have to act like he got his eye ripped out of his body. I mean, come on, let's just play.
All right, so let's go to the next matchup. Of course, the leading candidate for the MVP, I almost said Giannis there.
You should.
Jokic. So Jokic, the number 3 seed Nuggets, they take on the Blazers led by Damian Lillard. I'm assuming you have the Nuggets in that series because I think they win in 5 games. But who do you like in that matchup, and why?
So I mean, so Denver's doesn't have Murray, they don't have Barton, but if they had Murray and Barton, I think it'd be. I think I would put them in the finals for sure. Portland, I just don't think. I don't think they've ever had enough. I mean, they look stacked, but they're not. So I say Denver somehow wins this with Porter and Jokic and I guess Aaron Gordon. But yeah, I think somehow they pull this off and they win. But I don't know if it's 5. It might be 6.
I just don't like. I mean, Portland has Damian Lillard. They have CJ McCollum technically, but I still think the Blazers are missing at least 1 or 2 pieces. And I feel like Damian Lillard is always not enough. They always need someone to help him. So I just don't see the Blazers winning that series. And I feel like the Nuggets are going to get it done over with just because of how good Jokic has been. But I see that series in 5, and it could happen in 6 or 7. And maybe the Blazers, maybe they get an upset, but we'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah, that's very possible too, man. All these series in the West could go either way, and very easily too, I think.
All right, now let's on to our next matchup, Clippers and Mavs. This is going to be an interesting one because this is a rematch from last year. Both the Clippers and Mavs don't like each other, so it's going to be fun to see them go back-to-back. I think the series is going to be Clippers in 6, but the Mavs could get a stunner here, and they could win 6 or 7. What do you like, or who do you like in this matchup, and how long do you think it lasts?
I'm going to go Mavs because Porzingis is back. Tim Hardaway Jr. is insane right now, and Luka's Luka. So I'm gonna say that the Mavs beat them in 6. And I think it goes to, if everything works out how I want it to or how I think it's going to, I think it's going to be Dallas. It's going to be Mavericks Warriors on after that. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. Paul George, dude. Paul George in the playoffs.
That's true. That's true. Because almost every place he's gone to, if you go all the way back to what Indiana, OKC, now the Clippers, it seems like it always ends wrong or always ends bad, and he can't produce for his team. So that's kind of a concern I would have as well. But I just think Kawhi Leonard is so good, and I might be a little biased, but I do think he's the best player in the league when healthy. And now it's the postseason. Now it's no fooling around. He's going to get it done. I feel like even though Paul George will probably somehow screw this up, I think Kawhi Leonard will be able to help the Clippers pursue past the Mavericks, even if it's a 7-game series. He's going to find a way to do something as well. And plus, now you have Rajon Rondo, which should be some more experience and all that good stuff.
Huge. And Cousins.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And if he can actually perform, yeah. So it's going to be a fun series. I think that might be one of the better series outside of what Milwaukee and Miami, who we just mentioned a few minutes ago. So that's going to be fun to watch as well. All right. So at the end of the day, who you got coming out of the West?
I have, man, if I have to pick one, I'm going to go. It's probably going to be Lakers, but I'm going to go. Man, I'm going to go with Phoenix.
Wow. So you really think Chris Paul is finally going to get that chance to finally play in the NBA Finals?
I think so. I think if he can get past the Lakers, I think the rest will be easy for him. My main throw up there was either Phoenix or the Warriors. I just something feels like I had a weird feeling about the Heat last year. I have the same feeling about the Warriors this year. So we'll watch. We'll put this out, and they will have been eliminated in the playing game, and people will be like, "This guy doesn't know what he's talking about." But if Warriors make it, they're definitely possible. So a Lakers, Phoenix, or Golden State. I would love Mavericks, but Luka has no one, absolutely no one on that team besides him. And I'm even saying Porzingis is no one because he gets injured so much. So
yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Porzingis either. And even when he's healthy, I don't think he does enough to be able to produce. And I still think he's getting overpaid. And I feel like if Mark Cuban wants to win another Larry O'Brien trophy, he's got to give Luka some help. And maybe I'm not sure who they can get in free agency, but he's got to get him more help. And I think the Mavericks, it's like the Jazz and Suns. I think they're still a few years away. But, you got the Suns going all the way. To be honest with you, I have the Nets coming out of the East. And, man, it's so hard to predict the West. And I think it's probably going to end up being the Lakers somehow. And people are going to say, oh, LeBron's the greatest now that he took a 7-seed team all the way to the NBA Finals. But I think I do like the Jazz. But, again, I don't know. I still think they're too young. And I don't know if I can really trust the Clippers because of Paul George. So I'm just going to settle with the Jazz just for now. That's going to be a terrible prediction. But it would be fun to watch the Jazz and Nets in the NBA Finals. All right, so let's go MVP pick here.
Did you? I don't know if you. Now, obviously, this will be out by the time this comes out, but it's already been announced, dude. It's already over, right there, dude. Right there, MVP. It's already over, dude. They already announced it.
That would be definitely wild if Giannis won it, even though he's not in the running currently. But I think Jokic is the front runner. Who do you got winning and why? And do you think there's possibly a chance that Steph Curry could somehow win the award?
I think that's the two choices. Honestly, I think is Jokic and Curry. I think if Curry would have played all year, it would be Curry. But I think Jokic, he's played every game. The one where everyone else sat out, he played, and he had a crazy game. So I think Jokic just got it, and I'm cool with it. And finally, if there's going to be what they say, a center to win since like Shaq or something like that. But because I think Giannis doesn't count as a center. I think he counts as everything on the floor. So, but yeah, I would say Jokic. I'd love to see Curry win it, but he got the scoring award, so that's still pretty cool that he came back and got the scoring award. So, but yeah, I think Jokic has got it. If Curry got it, it'd be cool too, but I don't see that. I don't see it happening.
That's crazy to mention that you said it's the first time in a long time that a center has actually won it. I think you'd have to go back to no, I guess Dirk Nowitzki, but he's a power forward, and I guess Kevin Garnett is more of a center. I think he won it 03/04, and then before that was Tim Duncan. So that's crazy that a center has not won it since then. And I guess it'd be. I mean, centers are completely different now, but it's pretty cool. And I think most big men would be very, happy and very pleased. But I feel like if Joel Embiid didn't miss so many games, he would have been the MVP. And I feel like he, for the most season, was the best player in the league. And I think he is, at the end of the day, the best center. But again, Jokic playing every game, not missing anything, and not having one of his best players around him, Jamal Murray, and still grabbing the 3 seed, and we're the toughest toughest conferences in the NBA in the Western Conference. So I think that definitely deserves a lot of credit. And I feel like Jokic has now became, I don't know if he became a brand, but I feel like he's now starting to advertise himself as one of the best players in the league. I'll just say that.
Yeah, he's a household name now for sure. And it was Tim Duncan in 2002, and that was the year he repeated back to back. So that was the last center.
Yeah,
or no, he's a power forward, they said. So it'd be Shaquille O'Neal in 1999.
Well, technically, I mean, Tim Duncan played more as a center. I think today he would be a center, similar to the way Kevin Garnett won the award the year after he did. So, I mean, you could kind of say which way. So, let's go on to some other awards. The Rookie of the Year. That seems like that's going to be a pretty interesting race. LaMelo Ball had it the whole season, but then he gets hurt. Wasn't supposed to come back. Anthony Edwards had a remarkable season, played almost every game, but then LaMelo Ball came back. Now people are saying it's going to be LaMelo Ball's. I think Anthony Edwards should get it because he didn't miss much. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, I was all about LaMelo, like the whole time, and then when LaMelo went out, I was like, oh, he's not going to, he still may get it because Edwards is playing just okay. And then Edwards went on a tear. He had like 42 points, like a bunch of 30-point games, and they're all like 28 points and 7 assists and 9 rebounds and 2 steals. And I mean, just insanity. And he just seemed so smooth. So, and then Melo came back and he wasn't very good when he came back. So, man, I mean, I don't know. Part of me wants to give it to LaMelo because he's so entertaining, but Edwards might be. I'm gonna go with LaMelo because I think he's gonna be one of the best point guards ever. So,
yeah, I mean that's a good point. I think Anthony Edwards should, but I feel like at the end of the day, people are gonna give it to LaMelo Ball. But I'm kind of hoping that Anthony Edwards gets it, and plus I think LaMelo Ball does get his team is a little better, so I think that's gonna help him a lot. I mean, the Timberwolves, the second worst team in the league outside the Rockets. So
yeah,
I mean. The Timberwolves don't have much to really say, and not many people watch the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, people watch the Hornets just because of LaMelo Ball. So,
100%, dude. And the passes that he did, the showtime. I mean, I'm shocked that. What did he go? Third pick? He went
third pick. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? It was Anthony Edwards and then
James Wiseman.
Yeah, I don't understand why the Warriors with LaMelo passing and like. He learned how to shoot the 3 like that. Clay, Steph, and him, and they'd still have Wiggins, dude. Just keep Draymond at the center. That would have been a sweet team to watch.
Well, I mean, James Wiseman technically probably was one of the best prospects, and he was so athletic. And I think they thought Klay Thompson was going to be healthy. And then when draft night happened, like an hour before they were going to make their pick, they found out that Klay Thompson was going to miss the whole season. So I kind of understand the pick of James Wiseman because he was also the safe pick, and we weren't sure what we were going to expect from LaMelo Ball because he just came back from an injury in Australia. So I can see why they took James Wiseman, but I think they're going to probably be killing themselves for the next 10, 15 years. And I mean, LaMelo Ball might end up signing with Golden State because Charlotte's not a huge market, but
yeah. Well, and Lonzo, they because Lonzo's a free agent at the end of the year, they talked about maybe him going to Charlotte, which I think is stupid because they have Terry Rozier, they have Devontae Graham. They like that's way too crowded. Don't do that. But I understand what he wants to do, but I don't think it would work.
Well,
But
Charlotte has a terrible, I want to say terrible front court, because their back court is great, but their front court is terrible with Cody Zeller
horrible.
and Bismack Biyombo. So like
Yeah.
they need
Yep.
to trade, maybe trade for Pascal Siakam, or
Yeah.
get some type of forward, because I feel like Siakam's going to be moved from Toronto, or should we say Tampa Bay, after this year. So
Right. Yeah. No, and I mean, even go get yourself Enos Cantor. Go get yourself Hassan Whiteside. Like, go get just a rebounding beast that just plays defense down low. Let your guys score and let the other team just not lay it up on you all the time. That's honestly what they need to do. But yeah, Cody Zeller would not play minutes on almost any other team in the league. So I don't know why they're holding on to him like that.
to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked he's still in the league, not in the G League yet, or
Right.
just completely not even playing. So, it's definitely what the Hornets would do if they wouldn't have LaMelo.
Right, exactly.
So this is why they're never good. So,
all right. So I think I'm looking at the defensive player of the year list right now, or at least what it stands, and it says that it's Gobert, Ben Simmons, Bam Adebayo, Clint Capella. So Draymond Green's not even on here. He's in the additional list. I can't stand the Sixers. I don't know why. I just don't like them. For some reason, just always hate him. Plus Ben Simmons, like, he's 7 feet tall and he's guarding 6 foot dudes. Like, of course you can block people and you can steal and stuff. Like, it's not that impressive. Plus, get a jump shot. Giannis is a power forward and he's learned how to shoot. You're a point guard. Like, learn how to shoot. So I'm not a fan of him at all. So, but I'm not impressed with what he's been doing, really. Like, that's kind of what you do. You're an athletic 7-footer. That's kind of what you should be doing. Bam Adebayo, I haven't heard a word about him being a defensive player of the year all year. So I don't know where that came from, and I've never heard any highlights of it. Clint Capella doesn't make sense to me. Rebounding champion, I guess, whatever. So I think it'll probably be Rudy Gobert again. But if I had to pick a dark horse, I'm gonna go with the homer pick. I think Drew Holiday or Giannis is gonna be able to get it. Drew Holiday is a beast. He was the one guarding Durant. He's the one guarding LeBron in games that we play against him, and he shuts them down. So Drew Holiday or Giannis, man, he's still putting up crazy numbers from last year when he won Defensive Player of the Year. So don't count him out.
to be honest with you, I'll probably just settle with Ben Simmons, but I feel like Giannis would be another good option to go back to back. Drew Holiday, Clint Capella doesn't really make a lot of sense, but as you mentioned earlier before we started the podcast, he's got a lot of rebounds, so that would be, relatively why they would put him in there. But I'm probably going to stick with Ben Simmons. But I honestly, Draymond Green's not going to win it. I don't know why he's in the conversation again.
Yeah, right.
But I'm just going to settle with Ben Simmons. But I do think Giannis would be a good dark horse. But, we'll see what ends up happening. But, Rudy Gobert or Ben Simmons is probably going to win it, but I'm going to say Ben Simmons because I've just heard the most about the former LSU product. All right. Coach of the year is interesting. I've heard a lot of different opinions. Quinn Snyder from Utah. I've heard a lot of Monte Williams from Phoenix. Tom Thibodeau isn't getting as much as I thought he would. Doc Rivers is another guy. He took the Sixers. They're the best record in the East, at least. Who do you like to winning the coach of the year this year?
I'm going to say Phoenix. I feel like that's who is that? Monte Williams?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to him just because of where they were and where they are now. And not that I'm saying Chris Paul's an only add, but like you only added really Chris Paul. You got like Jay Crowder, but they don't like play that much. But the Knicks are just confusing how good they are. So, man, I don't know, between the Tom Thibodeau and Monte Williams, Jazz, I don't know. I think people didn't understand didn't know how to guard them, and that's why they were good. And Philly, they finally got everybody to play, and Embiid's playing like he should. So I don't know, it doesn't impress me, I guess. So I would say either Monty Williams or Tom Thibodeau for sure. Probably Tom Thibodeau, just because that's weird to me. That doesn't make any sense.
I do think Tom Thibodeau should get the Coach of the Year. Why do you think he hasn't got as much love for it as much like a Monte Williams or a Quinn Snyder?
I don't, because it's the Knicks. I guess they just are like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're 4th seed. I guess probably because it's in the standings, it's Utah, Phoenix, Philly, and then everybody else. So, because Steve Nash can't get it, there's no that makes sense. You have a NBA 2K team playing on, so there's no way he's going to get it. But and then it's the Knicks are just there. So I mean, I would give it to him, but they're not like insane good. They're just like should be garbage and are like decent. So, but yeah, I assume that's why his record. But I think that he's done so much with nothing that I would take it. So.
Yeah, it is a little strange, but I mean, since the Knicks, I think they're very polarizing, so that's why I would think they'd be somewhere in the range. But I mean, Tom Thibodeau has done an excellent job. I mean, he kind of got screwed in Chicago, he got screwed in Minnesota, and both teams aren't very good right now. Even though even though Chicago got Vucevic from Orlando, and have Zach LaVine, but we'll see what ends up happening there. Let's go another award. 6th Man of the Year. I feel like Jordan Clarkson is going to win that. Do you have any? Guys that you think should win it, or do you think just Clarkson's going to run away with it?
Yeah, I don't know even who's in that competition for this year. Like, I don't really know besides Jordan Clarkson who's even talked about. Oh, Derrick Rose. D'Angelo Russell hasn't played enough. Tyrese Halliburton. I don't know if he can win that as a rookie. He was okay. He didn't do as good. So I would say, yeah, Jordan Clarkson. Like, as much as I want to give Rose love, like, he wasn't putting up numbers like Clarkson was. So,
I mean, Clarkson was one of the better Jazz players outside of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I mean, if you look at that Jazz team is kind of built, not like super built, but a team is kind of reminds me of the 2015 Warriors at a time. Like, they don't have a Steph Curry, of course, but they kind of remind me a little bit of a Warriors team. But I think you can make an argument that Jordan Clarkson is the 3rd best player for the Jazz outside of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. So, I mean, that's probably why. I mean, Derrick Rose, I didn't think about him, to be honest with you. I don't know why I always forget about Derrick Rose, but yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Do you have anything else you want to add that we're forgetting?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a good playoff, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun to watch. I'm nervous to bet on it because I want to just enjoy this, because this is a really good year for basketball. So I kind of don't want to put extra pressure on it, but I'll throw a couple of bucks on the Suns and the Warriors, see what happens.
And technically, there's fans this year, and they're actually in their home arena, so that's at least good.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's awesome. And I tried to go to a Bucks Philly game actually in April. And because of how spread out they are, those tickets are obnoxiously expensive. So everybody go get vaccinated so I can go to Bucks games.
All right. So before we end the podcast, I always like to, whoever is on, if they have their own podcast or their co-host or whatever, tell more about it. You just recently had a guy from Saturday Night Live on your podcast, from the Pickle Podcast. If you want to tell us more about that and how you're able to book them, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. We had Gary Kroger, who is an SNL alumni. He wrote for SNL. He actually acted on there as well for quite a long time. We talked about everything from old Billy Crystal stuff to, we talked about Chris Farley. We talked about the new SNL people. Like, it was great. And he's for sure going to be on again. But he lives in Iowa now. He was born in Cedar Falls, and he talks about why he lives here still and why he moved back. And it's just kind of cool to hear. Before that, we had Alan Alameen, who's a local comedian in Iowa and got a shot to be on a Rogan, or I'm sorry, a Tony Hinchcliffe show, and got into some drama with a dude from the Chappelle team, and it blew up on the internet, and we were able to have him just from knowing people in the local scene. And then before that, we had my homie and comedy co-writer Mitch Banks. So but we're just able to basically people we know or people through people. Alo's part of the community, of the stand-up community that I'm in, and he was cool enough to come on and do the show. Gary Kroger grew up where the other host Kyle grew up, so he knew him through there, and yeah, just people connecting with people. So check it out, Pickle Podcast. It's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, normal podcasts, Spotify, wherever you want to do it. Do it. Have some pickles. Tell us about pickles. Write us about pickles. Eat some pickles. Do whatever you got to do.
When I was listening to it, I heard that he's a Packers fan. He talked a little about the Packers. I did not expect him to be a Green Bay Packers fan. What did you think about that?
Yeah, so I didn't know that until he came on. And yeah, he's like a diehard Packers fan. And so we talked about it because we talked about the Aaron Rodgers, thing that's going on right now. And since Aaron Rodgers owns part of the Bucks, I had a little input on it as well. And not to say that I'm a Packers fan, but yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, he's in tune with that. He is a diehard Packer fan. So when you're in Iowa, you can pick any team you want. You can be a 49ers fan, you can be a Cowboys fan, you can be whatever you want. So yeah, he's a big Green Bay fan. It was cool to hear. Yeah.
I'm not really much of a Saturday Night Live fan myself, but was Gary Kroger there when guys like Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, because those are probably my two favorite actors if I had a favorite.
Yeah, he talked about how much he admires Will Ferrell. He got out before Will Ferrell. He said that he got out, and we're going to go more into specifics when we have him on next. We just didn't have enough time because he's such a good storyteller. But yeah, we talked about Chris Farley actually had his room after him, his like where they hang out and write in. So he like got out right when Farley was coming in. So he was still around to talk to him and get to know him and everything like that. But Sandler Farley era, he like just barely missed it, but he was still like hanging out there. He's got stories on stories, and it's super entertaining dude. And he's got a lot to do with like active stuff, like good people, good world stuff as well. So yeah, we're all about having everybody come together and for the greater good of everything. So yeah, if anybody wants to check it out because it is good.
All right, that is awesome. Again, thanks for joining us. That is Andrew Jones, the co-host of the Pickle Podcast, local comedian, avid Bucks fan. You can follow him on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Andrew Jones Comedy. You can also go check out the Pickle Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast. All right, thanks again for coming on, Andrew. Love talking the NBA, especially the playoffs. Would love to have you on after the finals or maybe before, or maybe the start of free agency or the draft or something like that. So again, thanks for coming on, and hope to see you next time.
Absolutely, man. Glad to be here, man.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Town Podcast, or the STP Pod for short. If you want to subscribe to the channel, click on the right. If you want to check out more videos of the Sports Town Podcast, click on the left.